Hi, I'm Caleb Foster. For 6 full years, I've shared my bed with nothing but quiet. My wife Dana slipped into a coma following a terrible skiing mishap. Despite all the doctors urging otherwise, I brought her back to our house, desperately holding on to the life we'd built together. I washed her body each day. I read stories aloud to her. Whenever my funds allowed, I brought in nurses, though most evenings it fell to me alone. Then, roughly 3 months back, odd things began catching my eye. The outfits I put on her so carefully every morning would look different by midnight, neatly placed in the laundry basket. The bedding appeared freshly made. A trace of her favorite scent lingered, as if newly applied. At first, I worried I was going insane, so I took a step I never thought possible. I prepared a pretend travel bag, pressed a gentle kiss to Dana's forehead, informed the caregivers I was heading to Chicago for a flight, and parked 2 streets over in my vehicle. I stayed hidden until the clock struck midnight. Then, pulse racing, I slipped to the side of our home and peered in through the bedroom glass. What I witnessed destroyed the sorrow I'd carried. A tall, recognizable figure stood by her bedside, murmuring close to her ear. And Dana, her mouth responded, forming silent replies. I struggled to draw air. Not merely because she had stirred, but because the man bending near her was Mitchell Crane, Dana's assigned physical therapist. He joined her care group soon after the incident, prior to us bringing her home. Courteous, expert, the type of person who fades into the background. Until that moment, I retreated from the view, terrified he'd spot me. My knees trembled uncontrollably. None of it made sense. Dana had shown zero response for 6 long years. No eye flutters, no finger presses, absolutely nothing. Yet her lips were clearly shifting. I returned to my car at the intersection and sat staring at the steering wheel for hours. Just before sunrise, I drove home pretending I'd flown in directly. Mitchell had vanished. Her attire had been swapped once more. The lotion she loved sat open atop the dresser. And on her cardiac monitor, occasional, irregular jumps. I craved solid evidence. Something undeniable. The following day, I set up concealed cameras, video plus sound. I claimed to the staff it was for better internet coverage. Then I waited. That evening, Mitchell returned. The words he breathed sent chills across my skin. Relax. He's left. Only a short while more. The recording captured it perfectly. Mitchell slipped inside using a copied key. He carried himself as though the space belonged to him, dimmed the lamps, closed the drapes. He settled next to Dana, gently sweeping strands of hair from her face, a familiar habit. His voice stayed low, too faint for full audio pickup, but fragments broke through. He's starting to doubt. I'll take care of it. They still think you're unresponsive. Unresponsive? I replayed the clip endlessly, desperate for clarity. Was Dana aware? Pretending? Sedated on purpose? Her hands remained still, her eyelids shut. But the tiny lip motions, the faint lift of her expression, those went beyond automatic reflexes. Mitchell concealed a secret. I began investigating. His background appeared flawless, suspiciously so. No current tax filings. 0 online presence. When I phoned the medical center listed as his employer, they possessed no employment history for him after 2017, the exact year of Dana's fall. Who truly was this Mitchell? I reached out to a reliable private detective, requesting complete background details on Mitchell Crane. While the investigator dug, I met with Dana's brain specialist and posed one direct query. Could she possibly have been conscious all these years? His reply froze my blood. Dr. Hirsch reacted as if struck. He hesitated, then said, Mr. Foster, it's extremely rare, but isolated instances of hidden awareness exist in comatose individuals. Locked in states, or covert consciousness. Yet Dana's measurements, her imaging, everything stayed consistent. Consistent doesn't equal identical, I countered. He fell quiet. Why bring this up today? I played the recording for him. The murmurs, Dana's mouth-shaping replies. Color drained from his features. This defies explanation, he whispered. Unless her medication levels have been manipulated. That revelation opened the door. Dr. Hirsch examined her prescription history. There they were, subtle adjustments never authorized. Minor shifts, unnoticed by most, yet frequent enough to keep her in a subdued, semi-aware condition without full unconsciousness. Dana wasn't truly comatose. She'd been imprisoned in her body. And Mitchell enforced it. Late that evening, the detective texted, Mitchell Crane is a fabricated identity. True name, Evan Lake. Once an anesthesiologist. License revoked 6 years earlier due to misconduct tied to improper sedation practices. The very year Dana's tragedy struck. It hit me like a wave. This went beyond disloyalty. It had been carefully planned. That night, I remained in darkness, the residence silent save for the soft beeps of Dana's equipment. My fists tightened until they hurt. Evan Lake, posing as Mitchell, had engineered it all. The skiing incident, the induced coma, the prolonged charade of a heartbroken spouse and a devoted caregiver. I retrieved files from our winter getaway, and confirmation appeared. Evan served as the resort's emergency medical staff. Invisible, ordinary, until the crash. A wrongly assessed head injury. An erroneous tranquilizer injection en route to care. Perhaps Dana was never meant to recover. But the real question lingered. Why? My chest tightened as memories of Dana's inheritance surfaced. Before our marriage, she received majority ownership in her family's vast property conglomerate. Post-accident, her decision-making authority shifted temporarily to a court-designated guardian. The family's chosen medical overseer. And that overseer? Evan Lake, Dana's ex-fiancé from years before me. He sedated her, wiped his traces, and seized control of her wealth through her supposed vegetative state. The most painful truth? She was aware, and she'd kept it from me. Sleep escaped me entirely. I remained by Dana's side, gazing at her still features, imagining the torment of being trapped inside oneself, betrayed by a past love, and by the current one who failed to notice. Me. I had let her down. I hadn't recognized the signs. Softly, I told her, Dana, if my voice reaches you, know that I'll stop this. The following morning, I consulted my attorney and prepared legal documents. A petition citing fraudulent guardianship, backed by video proof, altered drug records, and identity deception. We submitted an urgent, confidential filing. No warnings given. That evening, Evan arrived once more. This time, though, I stood ready. He began his usual pattern, serene and practiced, until I emerged from the dim corner. Shock locked his expression. Caleb, I understand it all, I stated plainly. His hand moved toward his pocket, deliberate and slow. I retreated slightly and activated the emergency alert on my device. Instantly, the discreet protection squad I had arranged poured into the corridor. Evan bolted. He reached no further than the entry hall. Before they removed him, I posed one final question. Did her feelings for you ever fade? His reply struck like ice. No reaction crossed his face. Calmly, evenly. She never did. Not after the crash. Not after your vows. Not even today. They hauled him off, yet his statement lingered, toxic and unrelenting. Had Dana permitted this knowingly? The next day in court, the judge examined the evidence. The recordings, forged documents, alias, everything. Evan's counsel offered little defense. Resolution came swiftly. The guardianship dissolved. Dana regained authority over her assets. Yet she remained motionless. Her eyes stayed closed. Justice alone wasn't sufficient. I sought honesty. I stayed with her for hours before saying, I've learned the full story. You can stop concealing it. A single tear traced her cheek. My breath caught. Her mouth opened just enough for a faint sound. I feared you would abandon me as well. Tears welled in my own eyes. Never. In that instant, 6 years of quiet dissolved. Then came her next words, altering the entire narrative. Evan had help. I went rigid. Another person desired her silenced. And I immediately grasped who. Dana's father, Thomas Ashford, head of Ashford Global Holdings. Cold. Strategic. The sole figure who benefited even more than Evan from her prolonged absence. Upon our marriage, Dana fought for personal authority over her stake. Her father refused, claiming she lacked readiness. The directors backed him. Following the incident, he named Evan guardian. Discreetly, lawfully, flawlessly. When I faced him directly, he offered no denial. I took essential steps to safeguard the enterprise, he declared without warmth. Dana was exposed. You posed a risk. You poisoned your daughter. Yet she's breathing, correct? I captured every syllable. The warnings, the excuses, the utter absence of regret. We presented it publicly. Next, to regulators. In under 2 days, Thomas Ashford stepped down under pressure. Prosecutions ensued. Dana's influence returned fully. For the first time since the fall, she rose unaided, frail, unsteady, yet liberated. We relocated well beyond the urban sprawl. We purchased a peaceful residence along the shoreline. These days she creates artwork. I put words on paper. And occasionally at dawn, we share coffee without speaking. Because certain recoveries require no conversation at all,